Let's face it, if you can't play guard, your jiu-jitsu probably sucks. But luckily for you, I've developed a 4-mission system to take your guard from dog shit to Megazord level in only 7 days. In this video, you're gonna first learn how to access the system from any position on bottom. Then I'll break down how to apply them in a competitive setting. And finally, I'll show you how to develop the system within a 7-day time limit. The first mission is fairly easy. We have 2 hands, and all we gotta do is put 2 hands on one of their arms. Now this one isn't super strict. All we're looking to do is attach ourselves to the upper body in some form. In ADCC, Gordon used a wrist and head grip to initiate single leg X and eventually submit this guy in under 11 seconds.
Straight for a heel hook.
Another great example is Joseph using a 2-on-1 wrist grip to attack the legs of Andrew Taggett. However, outside of attacking the legs, one of the best examples of using these upper body connections to generate sweeps would probably be Joseph Chen versus Andy Varela. Joseph uses 2 triceps, then scoots his butt under Andy, locking up double underhooks, and then sweeping directly into mount.
Andy gotta be very careful right here. There's a big sweep.
However, in the world where Naruto beats the wizard, it's because he understands that without Mission 2, Mission 1 is practically useless. Now you can spend all day holding hands with other guys, but to really start initiating attacks and threaten your opponent, you need to have Mission 2 in your arsenal. As someone who specializes in outside guard passing, my goal is to get your feet on the outside of my hips. The best way to counter my style is simply maintaining both feet to the inside. And easily enough, that is exactly Mission 2. In some recent examples, you can see me use this against my second round opponent, pushing his chest away and repommeling my outside foot, eventually leading to a sweep. However, even with the addition of having an upper body connection, as well as both feet to the inside, there's still another problem you have to overcome, and that's where Mission 3 comes in. If we take a look at the examples between Gordon, Joseph, and myself, there's another variable that we're all using to drastically shift control into our favor. Taking another look at Joseph versus Andy, we can see Joseph uses 2 tricep grips and maintains feet to the inside. Next, we're really going to define the word butt scooter and shoot our hips so they're directly under our opponent. From here, this is where we really start to generate a lot of sweeping power. Looking back at a recent tournament, we can see as soon as my opponent postures up, I use my upper body connection to drag myself under and start to work into single leg X. Now you could be the king of interlacing your fingers with other big, strong, masculine men, the GOAT of in real life feet finder, and a weapon at positioning your hips so your toes graze the pubic hairs of your friends. But without Mission 4, not only are all of those meaningless, but I'd also assume you might not be doing jiu-jitsu. Now the goal of Mission 4 is fairly straightforward. There's a lot of different ways to achieve this, and it's one of the most valuable skills you can have as a guard player. See, as the top player, in order to form a good base, you're going to need to have 2 feet on the floor and settle into a strong posture.
I didn't even know you knew what an Ashwagandha was.
As the bottom player, our goal in Mission 4 is to simply disconnect the foot from the floor. With this match here in the gi, I have all previous missions completed. Upper body connection, 2 feet on the inside, and I'm under my opponent's hips. The final piece I need is to raise this foot off the floor. As I do that, my opponent loses his base, his posture gets compromised, and I'm able to get the sweep. So with the Infinity Stones of Guard now at our disposal, let's go piss off some wrestlers.
Pulling guard is killing jiu-jitsu.
Hey, real quick, if you guys like the techniques you're seeing in the videos, consider joining my YouTube channel membership. For less than the cost of your morning Starbucks drink, you'll gain access to exclusive monthly short instructionals. Available to you right now is Slash Passing and Kiss the Dragon. Join now and support me while making massive improvements in your jiu-jitsu. Okay, so it's time to put those 4 missions into action. We are here in the International District, training at Identity Jiu-Jitsu today. We got some good rounds coming up, so let's go find out if the 4 missions are actually truthful. Alright, so my first round opponent here is Eric. He's also a blue belt, and immediately as the round starts, he's already moving to first base, going for the handhold, a pretty bold move on the first date. As I attempt to enter a guard, he does some ninja and backsteps out of the entanglement. I'll upgrade my grip to a 2-on-1 wrist and elbow. Mission 2 will come into effect as I swivel both my feet to the inside position, and then I'll use the upper body grip to shift his weight forward as I drag my hips under my opponent to complete Mission 3. So far so good. The last mission is to simply just lift this foot off the floor. So the reason I lost this battle is because while normally you want them to post their hands on the mat, in this case Eric applies all the weight onto his hands. And while in most cases people will try to push off the mat to regain the base under their legs, he charges forward and catches me off guard, ultimately freeing himself from the entanglement. However, after he turns the corner and tries to come back in for the pass, I go ahead and complete Mission 4 in the transition, and I'm able to raise his foot off the floor before he even has a chance to escape. From here, I'll use that to sweep, and now as it's my turn to pass, do you guys remember when I said Mission 1 is practically useless without Mission 2? With the legs now on the outside of my hips, I'm going to flare my chest, tilting the top knee upward. This puts a heavy emphasis on my opponent to turtle, as he has no strong options to attack from guard. Because I'm aware that I can position myself, so as soon as the back gets exposed, I'm ready to insert hooks. In that transition, I shoot my arm under the neck, and I look to finish a rear naked choke. Our next opponent is going to be a brown belt named Tuan. So one thing I want to emphasize here is notice as I sit the guard, I'm looking to get an upper body connection before I fall to my back. Once I have that wrist grip, now it's a little safer for me to start falling to my back and start to hunt for inside foot position. And also notice right here, as the hands start to become unavailable, I'll switch to head and elbow, which will stutter him enough for me to achieve 2 feet to the inside, and then from here, I'll shoot my hips under. Another big thing that I've been waiting to talk about throughout the video is notice how once I get under my opponent's hips, my focus shifts from upper body grips to lower body grips. In no-gi, upper body grips aren't super maintainable, but the idea is to use those attachments to enter lower body grips. So finally, to complete mission 4 in this round, it's kind of hard to see, but I'm using my left leg here to elevate Tuan's hips just a little bit, that way it makes this leg here light. Now with the foot not just off the floor but also stacked on my shoulder, my idea here is to raise his foot higher than his hips and head, and that should topple him over. As I once again start to work my passing here, notice how I'm just countering everything that I said earlier. Getting the feet to the outside and trying to threaten an angle to prevent the 2-on-1 grips. 2-1's good though, and eventually he does get that 2-on-1 grip.
I'm not a rapper.
My focus then shifts to preventing his feet from getting inside my hips, and as I'm terrorizing the outside of his guard, he eventually does work one leg back to the inside. Notice how I like to draw myself back, remove the foot, and then continue my pass. Also from positions like this where I have such a heavy threat with the guard pass, it's very hard for your opponent to grip you, thus preventing those 2-on-1s and almost entirely shutting down the missions presented in the guard system. Now there's many reasons why I enjoy playing guard, and there's many reasons why I think it's beneficial for everyone to learn how to play guard. And at the top of my list is avoiding shit like this. For the final round of the day, we'll be taking on the owner and head black belt of the gym, Phi. So off the bat, I try to elevate him with his 2-on-1, but as I transition to lower body grips, he's able to wiggle his arm free and escape the guard. I'll set up my reverse de la hiva, and as I try to palm the foot in, he catches it, but he actually stuffs it between his hips and looks to go for a smash pass. At this point, I sneak in an underhook and look to go for a shoulder crunch. And then as he pressures in, I use my left leg to lift him just a little bit to free my left arm and start working towards another underhook. Now with 2 underhooks, I lock my hands together in a gable grip, and I'll use my legs to tilt him forward and get my head over my hips. From here, I'll use that momentum to sit up and compress his spine into my chest, forcing him to fall backwards. As I try to go for my knee cut, he shoves me back in half guard, and needless to say, my half guard needs work. However, with that, we'll conclude our time here at Identity. Thanks guys for the hospitality, and if you guys are ever in the International District in Seattle, make sure to check them out. Hopefully by now, you guys have a good idea of how to play guard. But now how do we take what we've learned and develop a strong, systematic guard in only 1 week? So to develop each of these skills, we're going to play a variety of games. The first one is going to consist of bottom player on their butt, while top players on their knees. The goal for the bottom person is to lock your hands around your opponent in some form of control, either being double underhooks or maybe a shoulder crunch. The top player's goal is to lock their hands around their partner in the form of a body lock. Game 2 is going to consist of you on bottom in some form of X or single leg X guard, and your goal is to keep your opponent off balanced. The best way to do this is obviously following mission 4 and separating their foot from the floor. I saved this one for last as it's a lot more dynamic, and I feel like the first two allow you to work a little bit slower before getting to this part. So for this game, very simple. Top player pass, bottom player get them into an entanglement. So within the last 10 minutes, you guys learned my full guard system and how to develop it within only a week. And some of you learned what an Ashigarami is today. Congratulations.
I didn't even know you knew what an Ashigarami was.
Regardless, if you guys took value away from this video, I would really appreciate if you guys click the subscribe button for me. It's the best way to help me grow my channel and grow my brand for free. Now, if you guys are interested in watching more mission-based system videos, click on this video right here where you can learn whatever technique is showing. I don't know which one it's going to be. It's whatever YouTube feels is best for you, but it's right there, so go learn. But as always, go pass some guards. Or in this case, play guard.